So I think it gets a little wild here, but if it only goes in one direction, my sense is that it's going to the upside, into the close. But when we look at the daily, right, we've got the chariot card. The chariot card has innate within it a decline, so it starts out with a sideways fluctuating rally, but it precedes a decline. The chariot card is both parts, the sideways fluctuating rally and the decline in most cases, unless it precedes like a decline card. But in the case of this situation, it precedes the sun card. So there's a decline in there. Hermes, what did you do to my cards? They're all different directions now. Goofball. You're the best, though. I know, I love you too. Hey, AV. So right now I'm kind of like split. I'm in both directions. I danced around a little bit. So I was able to basically get rid of the loss that I had on the. So I had the 420 calls and they were at a loss, right? And then I went and I sold against them to cap off that loss. Today I sold against them again at a different price level. 419's creating, I believe it's called the butterfly spread. But what I did is I basically locked in, like the most I can lose is $70. And the most I could make is $130. And that'd be like I already took in that money. So I'm just trying to keep it. That's a short position. But in any case, what I did is I basically miraculously got rid of the biggest of the losses, which were still small, but the biggest of the losing positions turned it into basically even. The only one that's really going to go out at a loss is this 418, 419 calls, and that'll be like 190 something roughly loss, which will be my biggest loss in like the last 2 weeks, or I should say only loss. But then I went in and I started dancing around with these calls because I was expecting more of a downturn here. This was pretty tricky and hard to read. And so it ended up going to the upside, and I was expecting more of a drop here. So I sold against my call. But then when I realized we were going higher, because, my sense changed, we were going higher, it became more clear. I got some more, so I've sold against one of them, but I've got a couple more 413 calls. I also have 415 puts and 411 put. Not sure how that 411 put is going to do. But the idea is tomorrow morning to close those puts. Unless we have like a big drop here in the last 40 minutes, which could happen. But my sense is that we're going to see the low again. So tomorrow's a little tricky. I'm not exactly. We have a nullified high card. We have a nullified theme card. It's also the price swings card. So this could be a very interesting day. It's also not very helpful that the sun cross-reading congruency ended up. It appeared today. So that gives us very little to like really work with as far as what direction we go tomorrow. But my sense is that we probably open lower significantly and then move to the upside again. But it should be like price swings. I think a high at the end of the day, and it'd be a brief peak that's easily missed, somewhere around 3 o'clock, maybe sooner. But pretty much what I did is I've got these 413 calls expire out on the 7th. right? So my sense is that I'll probably have an opportunity to get out of them tomorrow, and then probably a better opportunity there on like the second, third, probably early in the day on the third, in the midst of a breakout. So like, if we do go south, I'll make money on the puts, and then I'm not to worry. I'll make money on those calls in just a little bit. If we go north, the calls will counteract the puts for the most part, so I'll at least stay roughly even. But I gotta say, this was some hella cool maneuver here. Turning this into a butterfly spread the way that I did this was genius, and I didn't even think to do it until it was right in front of my face, and I was just like, "Yo, this is perfect." Because I basically, so like I had this loss when we started the day. I had these 420 calls and these 421 calls, right? And then throughout the day, I sold against them. I took in another $190 per contract, right? So I took in 190 and I took in 241 against the 254 that I put out. It's a total profit, guys. Even if it goes against me, I think the most I could lose is $30. So that was pretty dope because that was the hedge for the short positions in case I was wrong, and I was able to get out of that hedge, take big gains on the puts on the short position, and then get out of that hedge for a profit too. Hey Robert, is a big dump coming in Bitcoin in November, December, and when? Oops, wrong one. We're in 2024. Right, so like right now my risk slide is like this. I'll make more money if we go south because I think more near term there's an opportunity where we'll go south. That's my sense. Although I was a little off today. And then if we don't, we just go north. I know that we'll be at a good crest or opportunity around the second, third to get out of those for good profit. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah. So the two of discs and the four of discs have a very strong correlation to each other. They're very similar energies in when you look at them on like the wheel of tarot, which I should explain someday. It's where these relationships come from. It's the relationships are classic tarot. They've just never been used this way before. But what this is saying to me is that this end of day is gonna lead into like a probably a low tomorrow in the morning. Man, this is nullified. I mean, this is really nullified here. I just forgot to mark it off as nullified. So if it's not on the timeline, if it doesn't have a correlation to the timeline, I consider it nullified. So right, this has a correlation to the trade card, but not to the timeline card anywhere on the timeline. So technically, it's nullified. and we got the unicursal on the first, right? So there's probably a pretty big drop there. All right, so Bitcoin. Not really, no. I don't see a really big drop coming. There's going to be some price swings here as we enter into November. Let me look here on the 1 month just to make sure. Yeah, so the big drop that you're expecting is probably not until mid November. And I feel pretty strongly that we go into highest highs for the year here in December, or maybe early in January. Cal, to answer that, I'd need to do some preliminary work to answer the question about what year Juno will reach. That's something you might want to, like, I probably do like a 10-year. It'll be a little time before I get into it. I just got a lot of other things that are in the works. Will Solana dip below $20 in November, December? Where's my November? Oh, I stopped doing the monthlies, duh. So as far as that goes, let's take a look. And what was the question? Will Solana dip below $20? I say it's unlikely until maybe in December. Let's see. The Solana dip below $20 by the end of December 2023. Yes or no? I got a yes, and there's a big move out of that. So you want to be mindful here. This unicursal is an indication of a move to the downside coming very shortly, probably in early 2024. I have to take a look at the 2024 reading. I'm not sure if I've got one yet. I do so many, I forget which ones are done. So let me take a look. I got a lot of 2024s done over the weekend. Where's Sol? Oh, I did the Solana reading, duh. Interesting. Yeah, but before December, we should see a dip below 20. Does Gala look like it has some momentum into January 2024? So, guys, if you have early access, January readings are going to start uploading sometime at the end of this week. Is Gal? I forget if Gal is a coin or not. It is, right? Yeah. I just did the reading for this one, I think. It's pretty mixed. It's like bullish price swings from here into January. Okay, Tesla and Amazon. Oops. Still going. Wow. About 30 minutes left. Yeah, I think we're probably turning around here. All right, so Tesla. Where did the Tesla? Oh, there it is. Okay, so that's the November. That's the October. Well, I mean, that's the reversal we were talking about. Significant reversal. I'm not sure what you were expecting, but this, if you look at the day, I guess it's not that much of a reversal. Interesting. So, what does it look like that from there? Oh, right, because we went this way and then down. Interesting. So, let's take a look at November and see what's going on. Matter of fact, the reversal's tomorrow, but we should see probably a move to the upside tomorrow. Maybe like a gap down overnight into the first with another move to the upside. It's probably going to go like kind of mixed but bullish into November. And then Amazon. That's that prudence card. You got to be really careful trading around that prudence card. It's the most difficult card, in my opinion, anyways. Yeah, so this one's gonna have a drop overnight. This is what happens with the happiness card. Sometimes you have to keep in mind it's got a crest innate within it. So sometimes one is made as part of the card before you have a decline through multiple support levels, and that's pretty much what's taking place here. That and man, I should have really. I found it so hard to believe we'd have a highest high there. I don't know why I didn't put it there, but it's right in front of my face, highest high, and there we are, highest high. Right back to a highest high. Bam. But yeah, we should sell off pretty notably overnight, and then there'll be like a trough, like another prominent trough there on the 31st. So the reading's accurate. It's just I didn't mark off a highest high here, which is very clearly indicated to me looking at it right now. Ugh. I'd say considering those October readings were being like recorded, I believe during retrograde, it's not there. We did pretty damn well, I'd say. AB, is Amazon going to sell off to 120 tomorrow? Oh, it's already marked off 120 right there. Boom. I got a yes. I got a yes for that. For the Amazon selling to 120. Guidance. Hey, it was like guidance on USO. So multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance today. Let's see if that's accurate. Let's see that it's accurate. Yeah, it's pretty much sideways. I mean, we went down a little bit, but this is like a multiple failed, multiple failed. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Tuesday, rally increasing with momentum. Wednesday, continued move to the upside, but offering an opportunity to close out of a long position or open up a short position. Rallies halted on Thursday with a steep decline through key support on a multi-day scale. And then on Friday, out of that decline, we have an unexpected move higher, even in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds. So we probably have something pretty intense going on. My sense with Israel, like I said, that they were going to enter last week. I said they were going to enter with ground forces this week, and boom, lo and behold, what happened? So it's probably going to intensify as we move forward into the week. Let me see. Yeah, I think it ends up going pretty south by the end of the week there. Well, no, then there's the move out of it. So it's going to be mixed. But there's significant price swings basically throughout the week. Bitcoin next 10 days. I mean, we pretty much nailed the highs, guys. We kind of come back to them here, but intraday the highs were there, 24th, 25th, right there, boom. We also had a prominent trough, didn't end up being a lowest low, but a prominent trough here on the 26th as well. 27th there, really on the 27th. Pretty like back and forth mixed behavior, you know. And so I would say for Bitcoin, can I mark this off? Let's see. Hopefully it stays there. I like it like this. This is good. Okay. So this is going to be an Ace of Swords price level, an important price level on like a multi-month kind of scale there, because it's the high for the October month. It's really gonna, it'll likely be an important price level we flattened out at there. Okay, so we should have a rally out of a trough tomorrow. Along a diagonal trend line, ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line. The Knight of Wands is a bearish card, and then a big move higher where we break out on the first on a multi-year scale, or excuse me, on a multi-day scale. We break out through key resistance, and this offers an opportunity to open up a short position or close out of long positions before we start to kind of like we start to flatten out, kind of like top off here. Gets a little mixed. We might see highs again here, but we also see lows at mid-month, so there's a sharp drop there. But as far as the 10 days, you can just go look at the November reading. It's there. Oh, you're welcome, AV. All right, so let's see how we're doing, where we're at with SPY. Where did my... Tomorrow's a really, really tricky day, guys, because there's just, it's the high, the low are both nullified. The theme card's nullified. Like, really, really difficult here. There's probably a low towards the end of the day. Well, there might be a low here. See, because this is like a might be, because what we have is a like a secondary relationship, right? There's the low significator correlates to the trade card. Trade card correlates to the low significator, obviously, but the low significator doesn't correlate to anywhere on the timeline. However, the trade card, which correlates to the low, does, right? So it can kind of imply it's like a secondary indication. It's not as reliable, but sometimes it works out. So we might have a low here. I think the low's probably first thing in the morning. I think it's probably first thing in the morning, yeah. I definitely want to be bullish going into the first. Yeah, I want to be bullish going into the first, guys. This is pretty significant cross-reading congruency. The success card in the pre-market. Very likely a notable move to the upside overnight there. So it does look like we might be turning over here a little bit. Now I'm tempted to sell against these 413 calls, the 412 calls, but tomorrow's such a difficult day to determine. Guys, if you can like, refrain from trading, or if you can avoid trading tomorrow, it's probably advised, because it's a very difficult day to determine. But what I'm tempted to do is sell against them, bring in about $1,400, a little over $1,400 by doing that. But if I do that, I cap off my gains significantly, and if it goes higher, I would end up I would have to sell those. I would end up with a loss. It wouldn't be huge, but I would end up with a loss. And in overall, I think we're probably going higher into somewhere around the second, third there. So, like, if I leave them open, it's probably a safer bet. Even if we go south, it'll be like, oh man, I should have took on that 1,400. But if we don't go south, that could be a real big problem for the account. So, best to stay, kind of like moderate here, guys, and not like jump the gun. There's going to be some swingy stuff going on, and it's a little unclear tomorrow. It was luck. Why do you say it'll half in April of 2024? Did my reading say that? I don't remember these things. I mean, I'm in like a different state of mind when I record them completely. Like a different verse of reality. Hermes, why are you always sleeping on my mouse, you little goofball? You wanna go down? Go in your little bed. You're a good boy, Hermes. You wanna come back up? What did I do? So the question is, but what do you mean by having? Do you mean that in April of 2024 it's going to drop by half its value? We don't see 25K again in 2023. We won't come back to that price level in 2023 for Bitcoin. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Oh, right, halving, right. I thought you were talking about Okay, I got you. So, but jog my memory. So, what does that do, or jog everybody's memory, I should say? What does that do? Having, what does that mean? Because I don't think everybody knows. And then as far as daily readings for Tesla, you mean like the S&P readings? You mean like these readings by the hour? Right, so it cuts supply, leading to a higher value, and that's why there's projections of it being like over 250K at some point, for sure. Yeah, we don't see 2020, we don't see 25K before the end of 2023. Do we see 25K Bitcoin before the halving? I got a no for that. These puts didn't get hurt too bad. 25% loss. Well, it's not a loss, but depreciation, I should say, in a day for options is not that big of a deal, especially when you're talking about out of the money. You see a much bigger swings than that. So I'm like hovering around 30, roughly 39K. I go between 38 and like, well, actually between like 38, yeah, 38 and 41. I've been going kind of fluctuating back and forth throughout the day. What I really need is a good move. Uh, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing just because that's getting into like kind of like paid version territory. But for Tesla, November. This is a tough reading. It's definitely a tough reading. Um, so you got a brief peak that's easily missed, which is most likely right here on the 8th. It's really pretty mixed. Like the first week and a half is pretty mixed, but I think we'll see probably the first like high for most of the month. It'll be the high here around the 7th, 8th. But we have out of a decline a big move higher, rally higher on the second, offering an opportunity to close long position, open up a short position. That turns over. We turn into a decline probably at the end of the day or overnight there, declining into the third. But then that decline ends with a fast sudden move higher, um, taking us to a peak or crest, which is probably our highest price level for the month thus far there. And then over the weekend, hard to say where we open on the 6th, but we should close significantly lower than where we were on the 3rd. Gap up on the 7th. Possibly another gap up on the 8th. Yeah, so we're turning around here, right? Yeah. So I'm not really worried about these. These are in the money, so they might be out of the money tomorrow morning at some point. But by the time we get back to like the second or third, they should be pretty solid again. And that's kind of hedging me against if I'm wrong about this drop because I got three put contracts, two 415s, which I'm only down 10% on now, and then the 411, which I'll probably want to get out of that as soon as I have a profit. And these two guys will expire today. Like I said, that'll be my biggest loss since I started trading again, like a week and a half ago, and maybe 2 weeks now. Uh, it'll be like two. It'll if you take this, you subtract this from this, and that's what the loss is. The 265 from the 453, and what you're left with is the loss. I was able to basically cap out this one. The way that I did that, right? I sold against it 419s for 190, and I sold against it two 421s for 241. Right, so together that's 430. That's like a little over $430 per contract, and I bought against them. I bought the contracts for 254. So I took in substantially more money than I paid for. If this goes against me, it would be like a $200 loss, or not a loss actually. It would just take $200 out of the credit that I took in when I put this thing together. But that's how I avoided a major loss. I know it's a little complicated if you're not into options, but that would have been not a major loss. It would have been my biggest loss. I avoided it altogether. I know that. I know you are, Avi. I just not everybody on here is. If you know what I mean. Did I try to did I abbreviate the Tesla one? Like it doesn't do day by day. On Wednesday, yeah, there's a unicursal here on the first. Unicursals. It's probably if it's not, it might be bullish into the like midday and then drop. But there's a unicursal hexagram energy here, so significant move to the downside overnight. Um, but Av, what do you mean when you say it's not my my usual format? Did I like it? Did I abbreviate and not do every day? I'm guessing. Do you like that format better? I'm guessing you don't if you wanted to see by the day. Hey, Deduct, by the way. Hey, Jerry. Will space reach $2.50 by November 17th? Sorry I missed your question there. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so notable move higher on the 7th out of like at trough there on the 6th 7th. There's a peak on the 3rd 6th, a trough on the 6th 7th, back to a peak or probably a highest high there on the like 8th after a big move higher early in the 7th and then a rally along diagonal trend line. gets kind of mixed on the 8th and there's a notable drop from the high, that decline might continue into the 9th, and it would offer opportunity to open up a long position for a gap up on the morning of the 10th. I'd close out of that right then and there, a long position, and then we should have a sharp drop on the 10th. But I could give you the rest separately, because we're getting into paid territory. Not everybody that is watching is most people who are watching are not, haven't paid for it, or not right, maybe not watching right this second, but like most of the people that will watch this are not paying. You know what I mean? But let me know if whether or not you like that format. I'm guessing you don't, though, based on your question. And with that said, guys, I'm gonna roll. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. You're making good profits. Remember, rule of karma needs to be. Look at that. Oh, that's gonna piss me off. That's the drop. That better not be the drop. It better go till tomorrow morning. But they pull crap like that on me a lot, or they used to. I think we probably still open lower tomorrow. I'm not too concerned with it. So you can't like really do much with the options. Like it's not like after hours trading stocks. Options are different. The contracts, like, they stop trading. So in any case, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. 5% of the profits should be donated forward to one of these charities. 5% of the profits back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise, guys. If you use this link, it's transfer free, and it's a pretty good app. I've utilized it before for people that have sent money internationally. That leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you're an angel investor of the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold. Neglect to follow through on those rules, guys. The universe is going to cut it off real fast. Early access you find here. So people that are interested in the January readings that are going to start coming out, our services, Esometa posts, early access right here. Great way to support the channel, my friends. Thank you all so much for watching. Or gets to the Zeus bolts. I tried to be Zeus for the weekend, but my costume didn't show up in time. Yeah, and happy Halloween, guys.